Hi. In this brief talk, we're going to look at the chapter 8 from the Harvard Book Review uh, chapter on transforming corner office strategy into frontline action. I'm not going to go over this too much on what the author said there. I'll just try to use this more to talk about some examples from experience. I think this is one of those kind of semi-relevant things. I had you read this because I think it's a good example of how things work and what kind of what people say in a strategy area. But frankly, I wouldn't base my whole business around something like this. But it is a useful slice, and here's why. What they're saying, what their basic point is, you come up with what they call a strategic principle, not to confuse with our strategic strategy principles, but their view of strategic principle is like a memorable and actionable phrase that distills the essence of the strategy, corporate strategy, in a unique phrase that everybody can know and use. And this can be useful. I'll tell you, when you're a business leader and you can go around and ask anybody in your organization, what's our strategy for this year? And they can say, it's this. It warms your heart. It doesn't happen very often. And what really, they're trying to boil something down to almost like a campaign slogan, which, again, I think it's useful, but not so applicable in every case. However, it can be very effective. For example, if you teach AP English in high school, and the passing grade is a 3, college credit gets you a 4. Many of you have been here, or a 5. So your teacher may say from beginning one, our goal is 4 or more. 4 or more. So everybody says 4 or more every day, all the time. You put it on the board, 4 or more. That means I want you to score a 4 or better to get college credit. That's a strategy. Actually, it's a target. It's a goal for the year. Now you build your strategy around that, and it works. People say, "What's your point this year?" 4 or more. Easy. Or you might say something like in those examples that are in those slides. Dell might say, "Be direct," or eBay, "Focus on trading community." Something that everyone can say, and it actually is meaningful. So that does happen. A few quick things. One is that often you'll see companies that come up with a strategic plan that don't even share it with their employees, and I see this all the time, where you do the strategic plan for the company. They have it. The senior management has it. The board has it, but they think there's something wrong, or they're disclosing too much, or they don't have some level of respect for all their customers, all their clients. They don't pass it around. I think a strategic plan should be published in an internal intranet, whatever a company uses to communicate with its employees. Everybody should be able to see it. Everyone should be able to refer to it, and it should be clear that that's what we're all doing. But that's quite rare, and I think that's the basic human nature of elitism, and I know you don't, and information is power. All those things come into play, but it's really wrong. Don't fall into that yourself. If you know something as a manager, your people should know it too, especially when it's supposed to be the driving force of your company. When I was the CEO of a bank here in Miami, the first strategic plan I really could see what the fundamental numerical dynamic. It was a lot of things, but I saw that we needed X amount of assets and X amount of off-balance sheet assets to make it work. And that's, even though the plans were 50 pages of a bunch of things, that was key. Everybody knew that. Everybody needed to grow the earning assets to this side on the balance sheet, and a certain level of off-balance assets in our brokerage business, and once we crossed that line, it was fantastic. So those are things that work. In general, this becomes a little bit difficult to apply, and it's based a lot on the manager. For example, their point that you need to renew this frequently, and that's true. However, managers often don't. They'll stick with a plan. They'll keep going, and they don't have these kind of things where they relook at their strategic principle all the time, even though they should. But the idea, again, is to come up with a catchy, useful phrase that you can drive the business forward. I think this works well if you do it every year to characterize your business. What are we going to do this year? Not your overall strategy. I think that's an over-application of this concept. But what are we going to do this year? This year, we're going to make sure, we're going to say, something call it building client capital. And you'll say, well, that means that we're going to do more business with our existing clients. So that's your whole, okay, get it, everybody? We're doing more business with our existing clients this year, and we're going to call it building client capital. We're going to call it, this next year might be, we're going to do segmentation. Our whole concept, segmentation, figure out the stratifications of our clients, where they belong, and apply the right product to the right segment at the right price. Segmentation. So I think that works really well, but that's different from their application. But I think in business, you'll do well to come up with what's our big concept for this year, for these 3 months. It's almost like a campaign slogan, and I think this actually has applicability. All right, thanks.